I am delighted to be talking with Zoie Holzknecht. Holzknecht. I'm German background, so I love names and I always want to get it right. But thank you for meeting with me and talking to me, Zoie.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
And Zoie has been a participant this year in the Creative Strength Training, meaning 2020. The Creative Strength Training online, we called it a course. Over the course of this year, I feel as though it's become a community. It culminated in a couple of exhibitions that gave us a chance to showcase her incredible work, and we'll include a few pictures of her work in this recording. Really, my whole goal in wanting to talk to you is that I'm always interested at the end of the year in feedback from people who perhaps it's been a new experience for them and what the experience has been like. So I'm delighted that you're here, of course, and I'm wondering what your original expectation was.
Whenever I start a course, I always know I'm going to learn a few, really helpful things. So I keep my expectations lower. I expected to learn some good tips and advice about how to create a series. I expected to, be really quiet, to be honest, just work in my own studio. I don't usually share very much. And I expected to learn a little bit about what the heck these archetypes were, because that was really new to me.
Mm-hmm. And so as it unfolded, was it meeting your expectations, or what was the surprise that came out of the year for you?
So I definitely learned some really good advice on how to compose a cohesive series. Everything else was a surprise. So I did not expect to be drawn into this community the way that I was. Even though my medium doesn't have anything to do with quilting or stitching or dyeing fabric, any discussion that I chose to be a part of, I felt included and I felt welcome, and that was really special. The archetypes, learning about the archetypes, I did not expect them to change my life the way that they did.
Wow. Well, because they changed my life, that's a pretty powerful thing to hear someone else saying. Are you willing to riff on that a little bit? If it's private, you don't have to say anything else.
No, not at all. I do try and spend time in introspection, learning about myself. But the archetypes just opened up a whole new way to look at how I respond to things, how I think, how I act to certain situations. And it was just so enlightening. The time that I spent with myself, it was a gift, really, a gift to give myself that time to look at myself this way. And when I didn't realize how much, when you learn about yourself, it's just like an adrenaline shot to your artwork. It was amazing.
I love that. That's exactly how I feel about it. An adrenaline shot to your artwork, because suddenly you've got this whole wealth of symbolic stuff that's all about you. So does that make it easier to work with the materials, or harder for you, or is it somewhere in between?
I know that people struggle with 2020. I really think that this course made 2020 the best year in so many ways for me, both personally, getting to know myself better, and my artwork. I'm the poster child for before creative strength training and after creative strength training, because what I was making before this class didn't come close to what I could do with your advice and the online content and the community.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. That leaves me a little bit speechless. I have to collect myself. So ultimately, how will this affect your path forward and the choices that you make from after 2020 and the crazy train wreck fabulous thing that it's been? And it's somewhere in between, I think, for all of us.
I gained a lot of confidence this past year. That may have been one big reason I'm realizing why I wasn't really comfortable sharing. I made things that were nice. They were okay. friends, people that saw me wearing things that I made gave me compliments. But the series that I created this year, I can put them all together and I can look at them all at once. And for the first time in my life, I can say, yes, yes, this is actually me. And that, that is just priceless. It's priceless.
Mhm.
So, I'm really grateful for all the advice, all the comments. The online content was just fantastic. And I am so excited because I have no idea where I'm going to go from this. It's going to be nothing like the past.
Mhm. Good for you. Will you describe your process a little bit so that people will have a little bit of an understanding of how you actually work?
Certainly, certainly. So, I started with one of your books, the visual language book, and I did the exercises there, and I made, some of my marks, and then they're fairly simple. I'm not a drawing artist. I'm not good at that, but I could make things that were sort of meaningful to me. And then I use Photoshop so I can put things together. I can duplicate things. I can swap things around really easily. So I can make much more complicated designs with very simple little drawings that I had done.
Mhm.
And from the Photoshop images, I transfer those to polymer clay.
Mhm.
And for this whole series, it was a white polymer clay surface. So
Mhm.
I transfer that, and then I created the forms also in Photoshop, um, and then cut the pieces to the forms that I used.
Mhm.
Um, and then they're fired, they're cured to make them, harder surface. And then they were painted with various different sorts of inks and acrylic paints
Mhm.
afterward. And
Mhm.
then when that's finished, then they're set in sterling silver.
Mhm. Mhm. Gorgeous. Gorgeous work. And what I love about what you just described in a few sentences has to do with layering on a broader from a broader perspective. So your process is a very layered process. And I think it's always fascinating when that layered physical process that an artist engages in is a mirror of the conceptual process of organizing the information. And so you have done this really beautiful job of integrating those two things into one entity.
Thank
And
you. I hadn't really thought of it that way
yeah,
before. But
yeah, that's how I see it. So that's cool. Well, I could talk to you for an hour, but what I won't. I know it's evening for you, and I'm grateful that you've shared this with me. Is there anything you would like to share with somebody who might be considering creative strength training and feeling a little bit nervous about whether it's a good fit or whether they'll fit in?
fitting in, yeah, fitting in. I didn't expect to fit in. I usually never feel comfortable in big groups, um, and and without even wanting that, I was sort of drawn in because everyone is so wonderful and helpful. I guess I hadn't realized too what that component does for an artist when you share and you get feedback from people who also really care about their art.
Mm,
It was really helpful. So that's definitely a plus
mhm,
with this type of group. Everyone's just wonderful.
mhm,
Um, you know, again, not expecting to get as much as I got out of this. If someone who's been doing polymer clay for quite a while and clay for much, much longer than that, and still not really, finding a way to translate, what was in my head or, how I am into pieces. Um, Sorry.
no, it's fine.
Doing the work of creative strength training, showing up for yourself, putting that time into yourself, showing up, can make a world of difference in anything that you're trying to do, any art form that you're trying to do. And with the course material and all the people available to help you, it's all laid out for you. And all you have to do is, reach out and do the work. And
So,
it's transforming.
yeah, thank you. Thank you, because you've articulated exactly why I stick with it every year. Is because these are the connections. If we hadn't worked this year, I wouldn't know you and I wouldn't know your beautiful work. And so it gives back to me over and over and over again in the most amazing ways.
Well, that's good because you're not getting rid of me now. You're
That's
stuck with me.
okay. That's all good. All right. Well, I am so grateful that you talked with me tonight, Zoe, and I'm really looking forward to people seeing your work in the catalog that we just put up on Amazon and in as part of this short little interview that we're doing right now. And I just look forward to seeing where you're headed. And I just want absolutely the best for you. So thanks for making time for me tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jane.